Hey everyone, it's Farouche. Welcome to my channel. I want to wish you guys a happy new year, which is today, the Astrological New Year. The new year began last night about 8 p.m. Pacific time, so today, the 20th of March, is technically the first full day of the new year, and I thought it would be nice for us to do an all-sign reading for the energy today, because the energy that we begin a cycle with is really telling of some of the energies that will come up over the next year. And because this year is so significant, and there's so much going on, I think it's really good to bring some focus to what's happening now. So I'm very excited to tell you guys about this and to go through it. So there's a little bit of introduction that I need to do with you guys before we get into it, so we're on the same page. It's about 5 p.m. when I'm filming this, so if for whatever reason I don't get to finish this before it gets dark, we still have a couple hours, but just in case, this is going to become a members only video for the members membership. It's a part of their all sign membership. If we finish it, which is what I'm hoping to do, then it will be available for everybody to watch. This is a way to get the reading in because I really want to do it. The reason this is a problem is I just looked over all of my notes for it, and I'm worried that it's going to take too long to explain the astrology, and by the time we get to the all sign, it's going to take way too long. So I just wanted to do this reading today by any means necessary. So my any means necessary is pushing it through. So if you're not a member and you definitely want to watch this, then stick around and watch the live stream. And if by the time we are done the video, it's getting dark and the last few signs, it's too dark to see, I will still finish this video for all the members. The last few signs, by luck of the draw, will be in the dark, but I'll be able to see. So we'll just publish that for members. But if the light's still out, then I'll save it for everyone. I hope that's okay. And I don't want to lead anybody on. This is the best I can do today, to put out the video. And so if by the time we get through the astrology part, which we're going to do first, it's been about an hour, then I'll know I'm cutting it really close for the rest of the video. So stick around at least when we get through the astrology, and then we can decide if we carry on. The other thing that I want to give you guys a heads up for is what we're talking about is some pretty major transits today. So there's the reason it's going to take a while to explain, I think, is because we're talking about several different concepts, and whenever that happens, the astrology runs long. So if you're a member or not a member and you are interested in what I'm saying, I'll be generally glossing over a lot of astrology to put it all together for you guys. So if you guys want a deeper look at any of the transits that we're talking about today, kindly let me know in the comments. Not in the live feed when we're talking live, but once the video is posted, let me know in the comments that a particular transit was interesting to you and that you wanted to learn more about it. Also, I will be posting this information on other social media platforms. And so if you follow me on those other social media platforms, then you will find information there. Regardless of the social media platform, this is the last thing I need to say. regardless of the social media platform we use, I just wanted to encourage you guys to leave me a comment if you like the video that you are watching or the piece of information that you are watching. Nobody thinks you're silly if you're leaving comments more than once, a couple times a day, or every other day, however you feel comfortable. What happens when you leave a comment, it tells me to put out more content. So when you don't really leave a comment, if you're shy to, then maybe that's a sign for me to not post as much. So if you want to see more astrology from me, please kindly leave comments, leave likes, and on wherever you see the content. I'm back. I'm putting out content, so I just want to encourage you guys to do that. I understand we're adults and it feels kind of weird to comment everywhere, but nobody thinks you're weird or whatever for leaving comments. So I encourage you, if you like the content, I get lots of DMs on Instagram. So if you like the content, then please kindly say it in the open, and that will tell me to make more. That's simply how it works. So don't be shy, leave a comment. I have a feeling that some of you guys are shy to comment. So you like the content, you're sending me DMs, but you're shy to comment in public, that you are leaving too many comments or something like that. Nobody thinks that. Just leave comments if you like the content, and you will see more from me there. Okay. And all of my platforms have different content on them. So it's not like a copycat situation where you see the same thing everywhere. So if you do like the content, if you do like the astrology, watch the astrology everywhere. Okay, so let's get into the reading. I'm super excited for this one. I think that with the new year, which is marked by the sun entering Aries, this happens every year. Tropical astrology is the astrology of the seasons. It follows the sun's path across the ecliptic, and 0 degrees Aries is always set to the astrological first day of spring. So happy spring, happy Aries season, happy new year. And so one way for us to learn about what's coming astrologically is to take a look at what is going on in the sky as the sun enters Aries, which includes today. This is a good transit. This is a good time, for affirmations, for setting intentions and getting your plans off the ground. So if you're looking for information on that, I think you're going to really enjoy today's video. So just to go over the basics, guys, I jump over basics a lot, and I'm really sorry. If you're new to astrology, don't be afraid, don't feel overwhelmed. Ask me a question. I'm not a snob, so I won't think bad of you if you don't know what a moon position is or something like that. I have a tendency to jump over things. I know about that. So please, if you're new, you're welcome. I hope you enjoy the video. And if something doesn't make sense, then ask. I'll be happy to answer. And furthermore, if you guys ask me questions, I will be making content, especially short content, based on the question you guys ask. So if you ask me a general question, I'll be happy to answer your questions that way. So ask away. There's no dumb questions. You're just learning, and we're both enjoying this together. So that's what it's all about. Okay, so the reason it's the new year, which in my opinion, over the years, I have become more in favor of this new year. I love the fact that spring marks the beginning of the new year. We have a decently long day now, half and half. And so, and I live north, I live in Canada, so we get really a shorter day in the winter time. So it is really that bloom, that new beginning. I can smell summer coming. I'm excited. I hope you are too. So I love this as the new year. I can celebrate New Year throughout the year. Different traditions have different celebrations. So it's just a nice time. It's also a time when there is a lot of holidays across different traditions and beliefs. So however you're celebrating spring, I hope you're having a nice time. Okay, so what is Sun in Aries? I want to really start at the basics. I want to focus on bringing everyone in so they're on the same page. So in this context, I would say that it has a lot to do with beginning something new and this influx of energy. We had the leap forward a few days ago, and that felt like somebody turned on the lights when we added an hour to our day. And so it has this pioneer energy of it, of just the general frequency of the sun entering Aries. This means that you're ready for the new things, you're excited, new things are beginning. It's quite an exciting time. Also, with all this extra light, all this extra energy, passion and enthusiasm rise. So you will naturally feel more energetic. And I need to intervene here and just say something really quick. We are reading for the Northern Hemisphere, so if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, where it's the opposite, right? It's fall for you. But maybe you can look back to, readings that we did for the fall equinox, and it is a little bit inverse. But the nice thing about today is that we have equal day and night, right? And so what this means is that both the northern and southern hemisphere are sort of experiencing the same frequency. So if you're watching from the southern hemisphere, hi, how are you? Welcome. And this also sets the pace for you for the next period of time as you go into winter. So it's a little bit funny if you live in the southern hemisphere, but I think that hopefully this will give you some insights as well. Okay, so this is really the catalyst of a new beginning, Sun in Aries. And if you've been sitting around through the winter time and waiting for a fresh start, this is a great time to start whatever it is that you need to get started. Okay. Also, Aries is a highly individualistic sign, and we'll talk about Aries a lot in the oncoming weeks and even today. But because there are so many transits in Aries, Chiron, we have an eclipse in April coming up. We have a very complicated Aries energy that will highlight our individualism. And so as some of these things that come up will be things that you have to deal with or figure out, it is going to be a time when you really get in touch with you. And no matter what your situation is, this is a great time for really getting in touch with who you are, what's important to you, and where you want to see things grow. Okay. And then the last kind of point I have for Sun in Aries, Aries season in general, and these are just a really short list, is the courage to do what you intend to do. Aries is known for being courageous, bold, and taking chances. And so here we have this energy of Chiron and Aries, Sun and Aries, giving you exactly the kind of gumption to achieve what you want. Okay, so I am trying to go fast. And so if you're new to astrology, you may feel like this is fast. I do deep dives. You can get a higher tier membership, the collective readings. I put my deep dives in that category a bit more. In those readings, I go really slow, sometimes even 2 hours, explaining everything in detail. And so if you want to get familiar with astrology, that's a good way to go. And hopefully today I will give you some good feedback as well that will help. Okay, so the main thing when I look at this transit, the reason this year in particular, 2024, is really special for the beginning of the new year is a sextile between the sun and Pluto in Aquarius. For those of you guys who don't know, Pluto entered Aquarius for a majority of its transit for the next 20 years. It is a huge transit. There's been lots of talk about it on the internet, but it is very significant that Pluto has exited Capricorn and now is in Aquarius. So it's a whole new frequency, and it's bringing a lot of change. And so as the sun enters Aries for the first time since Pluto entered Aquarius, they form a very special aspect called a sextile. Sextiles have a similar signature, energy signature, to a Sun in Aries situation, which is the beginning of something new, infusion of new energy, setting something in a new direction, something new being brought in. So the sextile between the newly entered Pluto in Aquarius and the Sun is significant. And so between the two of them, we have a lot of energy coming into this Aries season at the same time as the Sun is. So Pluto in Aquarius, again, just a bird's eye view, quick overview, it brings with it a lot of changes. And for us personally, amid all these global changes that we are describing in like a bigger picture sort of thing, our identities are going to change, all of us respectively. Before, with Pluto and Capricorn, we were relating to a world that was really focused on material possessions and financial things that were changing. We know the housing bubble crisis and the consequences of it. That could be summed up as like the biggest energy of Pluto and Capricorn. And in relation to the housing bubble and, you know, skyrocketing housing prices and all of these things that happened during that time, us individually changed, right? We had all these financially, the financial system changed who we are as individuals. And so that was Pluto in Capricorn. And now we have Pluto in Aquarius. So there is going to be global things that happen with Pluto in Aquarius, and who we are as people, how we live our lives is going to change. And so our identities are going to change as a part of that. But the sextile between Pluto in Aquarius, and remember our general observations about Sun in Aries, is all about personal empowerment and individualism. This is a great energy between these two placements to empower yourself in the onset of all of these bigger identity changes that we are going to be facing and having. It's a very strong start to Aries season, and as a counterweight to things like the North Node Chiron conjunction, North Node Mercury conjunction, the eclipse that's coming, this is a really energy you want to savor. You want to really embrace this energy. And so expect also breakthroughs in personal development. So we are in the beginning stages of this radical change with Pluto in Aquarius. However, the better you are at figuring out how things are changing and how you need to adapt to them, the more successful you will be. The example is Bitcoin. In 2009, when the crash happened, Bitcoin was released and early adopters were able to make tons of money before it was on anybody's radar, right? So the people who got with the program in Bitcoin were able to really advance their lives quickly by seeing it as a force of change, of power in Pluto in Capricorn. So look for what's happening in the world right now and see how you need to adapt to it as an individual and try to embrace that as quickly as possible and go in that direction. This energy also is really good at overcoming fear. So you're more bold, more willing to take chances, taking risks pays off here, and so forth. We're going to get into other themes in a minute, but into this theme that I'm going to mention next, but especially ingenuity or trying new things. So if you have something cooking in the background, like if you have something that you're figuring out in the background, this is a really amazing series of transits that can help you push forward something that you have been working on, especially things that you have a great passion for, that's Aries, or things to do with technology. This is a wonderful time to initiate something, to set something in a good direction, okay? So it's a good time to make plans and take certain make certain decisions, and you'll see that as a theme throughout all the other transits. Now, off of this sextile, if you guys watch me, you know I love my yods. So we do have a yod right here at the end of Leo, beginning of Virgo forming. This is a chart for March 19th, which is last night when the sun entered Aries. However, the moon is already in Leo, and by tomorrow night, March 21st, the moon will be already at this position between Leo and Virgo. And so this is a very significant point. It's called a yod formation. The yod is also called the finger of God. I call it the laser beam energy. The foundation of the sextile points towards a point in the opposite end of the chart, and that point gets a lot of intense energy directed at it. And so at this time, it's Leo and Virgo. If you've been watching my videos, this is because of the general way the chart looks right now. We've been getting a lot of intense transits, intense yods specifically in Virgo and Libra. So here is another one just at the beginning of Virgo, but we will get intense yods right across this area of the chart. So if you have placements between late Leo, beginning Scorpio, these are significant, you know, for you especially, but they're important for everybody. So what does the yod here mean? This is a really powerful yod. So as you are adapting to a changing world, a yod here actually gives you a lot of grounding and allows you to in some way work with the energy. So rather than creative ideas about technology or how you want to rule the world with Aries, this position here is actually allowing you to ground those ideas and make them concrete. Especially on March 21st, look out for opportunities, look out for your mindset, figuring out how you're going to achieve something, how you are going to do something. It's a really great time, and the moon transit here on March 21st, especially in the afternoon in North America, so that will be early morning, March 22nd, Europe, and east of that. This is going to be a time in which you're completely able to take an idea and add something that can make it really work. So don't be shy. The key to this energy, like many energies that are in the beginning stages of development, is to identify what's going on and respond to it quickly. So here is your opportunity to act. So if you have something on the back burner, if you have something in the works, this is a good energy to push forward. Okay. There's a little bit more to this, because if you're an astrology fan, you already know there's a fixed star here called Regulus, and Regulus is one of the most famous stars in astrology. It's this star that many people start their study of fixed stars with. So here is your perfect introduction. This is a star that is associated with kingship, with rulership, being of service to humanity, and also really being helpful and taking a leadership position. So again, this is really complementary to the energy in Aries that is telling you to kind of get connected with your individuality, leadership, and so forth. And so because the yod is right on Regulus, you know, we have this really powerful moment here. So just as a reminder, for kind of a reference to something in the past, last year, last year, the Venus retrograde saw a really multi-astrological event thing happen in August last year. What I mean by that is several different key astrological events happened in August last year alongside Venus retrograde. There was a conjunction with Lilith and lots of other things. This was a pivotal month, August, that led us into October 2023 and all the events that came with that. And so this is a reference to that energy. This is where Venus retrograde began, right at the beginning of Virgo, or I think in the 29th degree of Leo. But anyway, it was significant. It was right in this position. So look back to August 2023 or watch my videos from back then and see if you see a connection with that. But that was right on Regulus. So maybe it's all working together for you for some kind of idea. So it's time to move forward, basically, in short. It's even more specific than that because Mars is at the 27th degree of Aquarius. By the 21st of March, it will be in the 29th anaretic degree, which is a very important degree. This is on the heels of its cycle with Pluto that began, a month ago. And so in Aquarius, so it's the first cycle with Pluto. This is significant. The first of 15 cycles that they're going to have over the next 20 years. And so Mars is actually at the midpoint between Pluto and the Sun. This is called a focus yod onto this position here. So I'm building the foundation. First, we have the sextile between Pluto and the Sun. Then we have a yod, and now we have what's called a focus yod. And so expect something that gives you tension, something that you need to overcome, be the motivating factor for getting your energy, to where you need to go. So it's not necessarily a time in which everything is easygoing. There could be a certain degree of tension that is motivating you to make a change. So if you guys are watching live, hi everyone, thank you for coming in. I just took a look at the time, and we're already 25 minutes in, and I don't want to keep anyone waiting. So if you're a non-member and you're waiting for the all sign, I think we're going to run out of time because we're already half an hour in, and we just did the first part. So do with that what you will, but I think this video is going to become available for members only, and we're going to have to do the all sign at another time. Okay, so I'll do my best to go through it quickly. I'm just concerned about timing and making sure we can get everything done. So I just wanted to give you a heads up right away. So in short, this yod, I think, is a huge hallmark of the beginning of this next astrological year. I think it's a really good time to move forward. Carpe diem, seize the day, go after your dreams. Another important thing to consider that alongside this astrological new year, we have Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree. And if you've been following me since last year, and members know this because there are videos about this in membership, it's actually the technical sidereal return of Pluto to the sidereal position of when America declared independence in 1776. So in tropical astrology, that return happened a couple years ago in 2022. This is because of the precession of the equinox. But now in 2024, we're returning to the exact position that Pluto was in terms of the constellations, the space, not in terms of the seasons, to where it was. So the same physical space that it was when the Declaration of Independence was signed. And so this is a very significant moment in world history. We see a lot of, geopolitics happening. Let's go over just a bird's eye view of some of the things. This is one of the things that I encourage you guys to leave me comments about if you want to see more about this. But what you can expect right now, because Pluto has entered this position alongside Aries season beginning. This is the hallmark of the next year. Radical social and political change is going to happen very quickly. I think that technology is actually the backbone of what's causing all of the change. New technologies have arisen over the last few years, not just AI, in a much bigger scope. This is a deflationary pressure on the cost of technology. Deflationary pressure means that technology allows for things to be cheaper to make and do. And so therefore, people in other countries, in other parts of the world, can now participate in the economy because they have access to technology for cheaper. And so that changes America's geopolitical position, and that leads to higher competition, which overall is good. However, if you live in America, it's a stressful time because you're no longer controlling, everything through your competitive advantage over technology. So if you look back in the past, America had really a technological advantage over the rest of the world, and that actually fueled your hegemony. And now that technology has branched out and diversified and more people can participate from other parts of the world, your competitive advantage has become lesser. It's not gone, but it has become lesser. And I see people talk about this all the time, like who's going to do what to whom. But I think it's much more helpful to think of it as, other people's ability to use technology and compete on an even playing field to Americans and to America. And so, that changes the geopolitics. But when you're thinking about what's happening in America, I think that can really inform Americans to decide what to do about it. That means you need to get competitive. That means you need to use those technologies and require your government and people around you to support you, in modernizing and using what you have to your advantage. So I think that's what's happening. And Pluto in Aquarius is a marker of that diversification, which overall I hope is good for the world. More people being able to participate, being lifted out of poverty and so forth. But I think America needs a bit of an adjustment, right? So I think that's what that's all about. With that, there's going to be a lot of priorities changing. We've seen with especially Chiron and Aries, which is also at a return for the Declaration of Independence. This is in the tropical system, so I'm jumping between systems, but they're referencing both the Declaration of Independence. With Chiron and Aries, there's been like a real rise up of empowerment. People who have been marginalized, are not represented, are coming to the forefront, and with this depreciation that technology is, deflation that technology is causing, this is empowering people who never had access to power before to have more access now. So that whole conversation about, social rights and social paradigms is changing now. And so priorities are changing in terms of government, in terms of your society. So that's like another important thing. I think one of the important things that I really want to throw in here is the southern border question, because it's become quite a hot topic. I think the expression of the changing hegemony of the United States on more people coming in to your country through the southern border opens up a really interesting conversation. Aside from people from all around the world coming, because you see people coming from Russia, from China, from India, from many places in the world. But the question I think that will arise is Native Americans who are coming in, Native people, Indigenous people who are coming through the southern border, because the question is going to be that, for a long time, that was one territory that belonged to the Native people, and then that became a part of the United States. So the question arises is, whose country is it, and are they actually trespassing? And I don't think that we've been talking about it in that context yet. Or maybe some people have, but in terms of like a popular discourse in the main media, I think that that's going to really rise up, where Indigenous people, Indigenous Americans or North Americans are going to be saying like, hey, wait a minute, this is what our land, this is our country. And so that will put a pressure on, in some way, possibly, bringing harmony to our understanding and being more tolerant and understanding, and with policies changing as per how to manage this situation, because it is a situation we have to manage. Before, I'll explain it in just a minute a little bit more. Also in the 2000s, there was something called the Pan-American dollar that the United States was really pushing for. But right now, BRICS, Brazil has entered BRICS. And so this was the idea that there would be a dollar for all of Americas, the South, Central, and North America. But now certain countries are a part of BRICS, and I don't know if that's going to pan out, but maybe this will rise to the surface through this time. This may be a marker of these things beginning and the sidereal return of the United States. And the last thing is there is going to be changing borders, not necessarily separations, but shifting, like we just talked about. The border between the United States and Mexico may change, or maybe even if not politically, the border may change in terms of themes. Like people will start to conceptualize that separation different, because right now it's like a hard border, it's us and them, but then maybe the conversation between who we are and who they are, I'm Canadian, but will change. And so as we center the identities of Indigenous people, that may challenge what we conceive to be our land, right? So hopefully that will find empowerment for people who were otherwise displaced and marginalized. So this was actually motivated by a clip that maybe you guys saw on social media. A 18-year-old boy had been transferred from Mexico by smugglers to America, and a ranger saw him, and he was stumbling down the road, and he just burst out crying, like it broke my heart. And he was crying because they had left him in the mountains for dead, and he thought he had, he was going to die. And so I think it's that human aspect, and we'll talk about that in a minute, is going to really come to the forefront. Like, these are Indigenous people whose land it is, and maybe there is enough separation from those times that people will not be so resistant to understanding that bottom line, right? So I think that there's going to be changes in your southern border in terms of how you manage it, but also in terms of the relationship to Indigenous sovereignty and entitlement to being there, right? I think that's going to be an interesting question. Okay, so I didn't want to get political, but I think that this is important. If you want to do a deep dive on Pluto in Aquarius as part of the Pluto sidereal return, we can do that. Let me know in the comments. The other really important transit, I really am trying. So yeah, 30, I don't think we're going to make it for an all sign today if you're waiting for one. But I'm enjoying this. I hope you are too. So the other important thing to keep in mind is right before the sun entered Aries, it formed a conjunction to Neptune. And so that's a planetary cycle. It's an annual one because it's the sun, so it happens every single year. It happened on the 17th of March. This begins a year-long cycle with Pluto in Aquarius. 27 degrees of, not Aquarius, Pisces, is where there was a massive conjunction between Jupiter, Venus, and Neptune. This was a once in a human society conjunction in 2022. This is very significant because Venus is exalted at the 27th degree of Pisces. She's exalted in the sign of Pisces, but at 27 degrees, that's the degree at which she's exalted. So I think it's very significant that this conjunction between the sun and Neptune marks the second to last planetary cycle before Neptune enters Aries. I love Neptune in Aries, and what I just shared with you guys about this boy that was crossing the border, the human side of the mechanics of what's happening. I think Neptune in Pisces is really about that compassion for other people, sympathy for other people's situations, looking beyond your self-interest and seeing how other people are impacted. So, it's a couple years or a year before Neptune enters Aries, but it's the last full cycle that Neptune is in Pisces, between Neptune and the sun, before it enters Aries. And I just really wanted to highlight the emphasis on compassion for other people's experiences and the really seeing things from another perspective, which I think is a huge part of Neptune in Pisces. So bring that to mind. And that conjunction in 2022 between Jupiter, Venus, and Neptune, very important. There's nothing else like it in human history, and hopefully it's a marker of good. Those are very benefic. That is a very benefic conjunction. At the time when it happened, I said that even maybe a prophet is born at that time. We'll see. And I mean, the prophet would be like 2 years old now, but a very significant person may have been born in 2022 at that time. Or something really beautiful had been brought into the world. We may need to take some time to see it, but in this planetary cycle between Neptune and the Sun, over the next year, we may actually see it happen, right? Because the Sun and Neptune are going to be forming different aspects until next year. So the next cycle is actually at the anaretic degree, 29 degrees of Pisces. It happens March of next year when the Sun is here. So that's significant. Okay, let me know if you want to know more about this, but I jumped right over this. A lot of information. So if you want to know more about the Neptune-Sun planetary cycle, we can do more about that. But I think that's sufficient for understanding this astrological year. Then we have the Venus-Saturn cycle that's also beginning in Pisces. And so again, inner planets take a shorter amount of time to go around the zodiac. So this cycle is actually really short. It's only about, let's say 9 months. From now, because the next time they join together is January 1st, 2025. And that's going to be a triple conjunction. We'll talk about that separately. But the Venus-Saturn cycle has just begun and at 12 degrees Pisces, and they will be forming a series of interactions. The gist of this energy is that of bringing unconditional love, which is Venus and Pisces, into Saturn, which is the structures that we are working out and figuring out. Saturn in Pisces has been teaching us how to reformulate, especially belief systems, belief structures to lead a better life. So letting go of certain belief systems, some people letting go of certain religions, all these kinds of things. And Venus in Pisces is bringing unconditional love to that. Belief systems are hard to break down, and so unconditional love is a really powerful moment to be able to confront what you believe if you're resistant to it, and have the courage through love to be able to move past it. A key time for this planetary cycle is actually August 19th of this year. This is when they will form an opposition in Virgo, and so look for that as a important moment for that cycle. And overall, this is going to actually bring to you also balance to your relationships. This is a great time for you to figure things out with people, to talk things through. It's a very creative time. Saturn in Pisces, Venus in Pisces. This is adding to the energy of Aries, allowing you to put forward your creations and really put some energy behind them. Again, I really jumped through this quickly because of timing issues. 42. I haven't given up on the all sign yet, and we are really at the end, but I'm thinking that it's not going to be enough time. But anyway, so I think I'll be able to fit it in. I really want to do it. But if you want more information on the Venus and Saturn planetary cycle and how that's going to play out in the next 6 months to 9 months, then please let me know and we can go more deeply into it. Okay. The other important thing is that off of this conjunction, the beginning of the cycle, there's a sextile to Jupiter that's forming, that's going to be very important in the upcoming week. So Venus and Saturn. So Saturn and Jupiter have been traveling together in a sextile since the beginning of the year. I've been telling you guys about it. It's kind of a big deal. And the last major transit that's going to happen in relation to this sextile, as Jupiter pushes away from Saturn, is going to be the eclipse that's coming up on March 25th. So we'll talk about that there. But suffice it to say that the conjunction of Venus and Saturn is also important because it's at the white moon Selene position. So this is where the moon is closest to us, to the earth. And so all of this good energy between Saturn and Venus is really being brought to us for clarity, improvement in relationships, deeper understanding with people who we love. If you have barriers between yourself and people who you love, specifically on like your belief systems, this is a wonderful time to reconcile this. So this position is sextiling the Jupiter position, and that is forming a yod onto the eclipse that's coming up. And this is a very powerful also point of transformation. And we'll talk about this more when we get to the eclipse video, because that's where we can really focus on that. But know that this new moon, or not new moon, Aries season is already underneath the influence and preparing us for the eclipse that's coming up, and building on the energy of creativity, initiating projects, moving forward with ideas. Jupiter in Taurus allows us to ground and build steadily up. So whatever ideas that you have, whatever creativity, whatever unconditional love you're bringing to the things that you care about, Jupiter is adding a very consistent foundation. And so now looking forward, this is the last one. We have Uranus and Jupiter joining together in Taurus, and this is the beginning of their conjunction. So right now, Jupiter is at almost 15 degrees of Taurus and Uranus is at 20 degrees of Taurus. The actual conjunction happens in April. However, this is their approach. So from now until April, we're considering that Jupiter and Uranus are coming together in Taurus. This is a very special transit. It's once every 13 or 14 years. So this is the beginning of the cycle of Jupiter and Uranus. And so again, all of these themes of material prosperity, growth, putting energy behind projects, making things work and bringing things into maturity, making things happen is going to transpire with Uranus. Uranus adds this energy of innovation. So everything we've kind of talked about has this opportunity to be rethought of. So the way that we did things before, we may change. One of the themes of Taurus, Jupiter in Taurus, or Uranus in Taurus, anything to do with Taurus, has to do with food insecurity, and we are in a major food crisis in the world in general because of all the conflicts that are happening. But this is actually a really good sign, and I know that there's lots of scientists and smart people that are working together to try to feed the world and to shift nutrition so that people have the food that they need. And so I'm hopeful that this will be a marker of improvement. And so just like that world issue for you yourself, you can be looking forward to now with this new year to like breakthroughs in improving material conditions, or maybe finding, new technologies to help you prosper and thrive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this chat. I mean, we really went in. I went through it as quickly as possible. I am going to try to do the all sign because we did it in 47 minutes. If any of these general points, because I wanted to introduce what's going on in terms of the chart. So just to bring you guys back to our focus point, today, the sun is at 0 degrees Aries. It has entered Aries. And so just like your solar return reading, your solar chart birthday reading, this is a good time to consider all of the other transits that are happening. So this was just a survey, like a huge, just quick overview of some of the major things that are going on in the sky and some of the major things that are going to be a huge part of the oncoming year. So I encourage you guys to, learn more about each individual one. I went really quickly through them, so I have a lot more to say about each one. And if you're interested in any of these specific cycles or patterns, series, please let me know in the comments once I post the video, and then we can talk about it in a separate video. And just as a reminder, a lot of this information, my Instagram and other social media has been really dormant. I haven't been putting up a lot on them for a long time, and now I'm posting regularly there, and it's a really good place to post things of like it's a good place to post things like dates and stuff to show you. So I encourage you guys, if you want more information, you're not a member, you can sort of go to that platform and check it out. And I will be posting things in a short format, so it's easy for our reference. Okay, so now let's go through it. We made it, and now we're going to do the all sign. It's going to be a fast all sign, and I encourage you to watch for your sun, moon, and rising. I've been trying to explain to people that sun, moon, and rising isn't just like some 20th century conjecture, that it makes like astronomical sense. So your sun represents the self. Tropical astrology is the study of the seasons, and so where the planets are in relation to the sun. So I think of sun astrology as very important. Rising sign is important, but I do think that with rising sign, it sort of gets skewed for your general readings, like these types of readings. So I think it's far more powerful, like your rising sign in a personal reading, a one-on-one, or when you're reading your own chart, than a general reading. It does have a chance of skewing things a little bit, but watch for your rising if you like. But my personal favorite is the moon, because with the moon, you're seeing your emotions, how your emotions are relaying to the different transits, and so what's going on. So do watch for all of them. And so now let's just get into your reading, okay? Okay, so first we're going to go and take a look at Sagittarius. Hey Sag, let's just take a look and see how this year starts for you. Okay, so Sagittarius, very important. Let's see. Sagittarius, for you guys, of course, this is always going to be in your 5th house. That's like a nice start to the year to have all this happen in your 5th house. I think a huge emphasis on what I've been kind of trying to outline in today's video is that for you, the focus will be a lot to do in the outside world for the next 12 months. So your relationship, and several years, I would say even 10 years, to be honest. And so there is going to be a focus on social relationships, connection to people, branching out and interacting with people. It's going to be a huge and important kind of time for you. So this ingress of the sun into Aries is bringing actually a lot of focus into your social life, prominence. I was looking here, but it's actually here at your MC. Prominence and growth and connection with other people. So I would say that this is going to be a huge thing for the next year for you. Another really important relationship or factor is the relationship between people who you are near in your community, like people who you know in your neighborhood and who are near you, and also what you want to do for yourself. So there's going to be a lot of connections between the people that you surround yourself with and your ability to branch out and do the things that are really in your heart. It's a very productive year for you ahead. Especially with the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in your 6th house. So expect to be very busy and active. Okay, so let's see your cards. So we have the 6 of Wands, which to me suggests that there's a personal victory that you are facing. Then we have a new beginning. This could actually signify between all these transits and the card itself. Some of you may actually really branch out in work, get a new job, start a new career. Some of you may, from the foundation of your neighborhood close to home, you may actually push that energy out and start your own business. So if you've been irking or feeling the urge to do that, then you should do that now. And we have Four of Wands. We have Four of Wands for Sagittarius. Beautiful energy. The world is your oyster. I think whatever is on your mind here, I think that you should pursue, and with full energy pursue it. Be excited and really, really try to go after your dreams. For some people, and I know we're in a housing crisis, so I don't mean to, say anything, like lead anyone on, but this could be a sign of, buying a home or buying a property. So, for some of you, this is a huge, things may change and you may find yourself in a position to buy a house, move into a great house. This is like really happy home, happy family kind of vibes. Okay, we'll talk about this a lot more. This is just my introduction into your year ahead. Then we have Taurus. Hey Taurus, let's take a look at your astrology, and let's take a look at your chart. Okay, so Taurus, so for you, I think that it's likely that there is a really significant life event that's going to come up in April. And this will likely allow you to be different than you've ever been before, more flexible, more adaptive, more ready to make changes in your life. But there's also a lot of focus here for you in a fundamental change in your environment. You may find yourself in prestigious places, especially to do with your career. Your career may be taking you up very quickly. I would be paying attention to Mars in Pisces over the next month and a half as it transits through Pisces, especially making a conjunction to Saturn in mid-April and then later to Neptune. Some events may come up when that happens. We'll talk about it there. What I see for you as a potential in this energy is making connections with people that will push you to higher positions in terms of career. What I think is also very exciting on a personal level, those Tauruses who want children, or for whom children are an emphasis in their life, there may be significant events that are coming up for you in terms of raising children or having your first child or having more children, and a lot of joy coming to you through that. So I see career progress, and then also from social networking, from social change, I see a lot of potential for career growth, and then also a emphasis on family and children and great joy coming to you through those connections. Okay, so let's see, pick some cards. And remember, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We have King of Cups. This signifies a really close relationship, whether you date men or women, so it doesn't matter. If you're not in a relationship, there's a supportive energy of a person around you, but very loving energy. What I mean by this is you might find yourself in a very good environment, Taurus, with a very supportive and caring and nurturing person. Remember, we said Mars in Pisces, that's a water sign. So the kindness and love from people. In the astrology, you know how I described for you guys like the increase in compassion with Neptune and Pisces, but also these last planetary cycles, the ability to see somebody else's situation and people being more willing to be compassionate at this time. Enjoy this energy and build your life off of it. Then we have Saturn, strength, that's the card of Leo. This is bringing us back into children. I could see some of you guys, and then we have the Two of Cups. This is more the friendship, companionship card. But the strength card here brings us down to Regulus between Leo and Virgo. And what it seems, it really feels strongly for you, Taurus, that there is someone, you're finding yourself in a situation that's deeply supportive, and that situation is providing you with the emotional and support that you need to go after something that you truly want. So you're getting that this is a perfect environment in which someone around you is giving you the kind of energy that you need to make things happen over the next year in your life. And this does not mean that it's a platonic relationship. If you're like in a love relationship and you're worried that this is a sign of, it going cold, this is signifying to me a true friendship. So it's actually making that relationship better. So whether you are in a platonic friendship, or if it's a marriage, or if it's something more serious, it looks like the person around you is a true friend. So very beautiful message for the beginning of the year. Okay. Let's see the next sign. We have Aquarius. Okay. Hey, Aquarius. So this is a reading that's hugely emphasizing placements in your chart. I would really recommend that if you have Aquarian placements, you watch the astrology overview. It'll give you a really good idea of what's coming up. So I think we're going to be able to get through this all sign really well. So make sure to like and comment, you guys, once I post the video. Okay. Oh no, the light is good here. Yeah, it's very good. It's overcast. Overcast is actually really better to film because with sun it gets inconsistent and then the camera overheats. But anyway, Aquarians, hey, hi weirdos, how's it going? It's Varouche here. Let's take a look at how this astrology impacts your chart. So for Aquarians, I would say, this kind of beginning will happen every year, but it won't happen every year on the first day of spring. So this is it's a very special sextile in my opinion. I think it's completely a blessing, like beautiful. You have this like bright new beginning towards the upcoming 20 years when Pluto is transiting through your sign. So you're at your best here, and I hope that you really focus on your life and take observation of what's happening in your life so that it inspires you. Okay, so for you, I feel as though with the right from the beginning of this, I keep on calling it a new moon. It's very similar to a new moon energy, but the new year. This is more of a download, I'm not sure, but it feels as though a decision is being made, and that doesn't mean that you have to like act on it, but maybe in your own mind about a relationship. And so the energy that's kind of emerging is questioning certain types of relationships or a relationship with a specific person, and you're assessing it and trying to understand if this is a relationship in which you're going to let it go or stick around or change it. So I think that's a huge thing that's happening for Aquarian types as well. I think that I didn't emphasize this in the astrology overview, but I think there's an element of boldness here where people are more ready to sort of take on the world or take on, what's coming. So whereas maybe before you were more willing to back down, this is a time in which people are much more assertive, much more ready to take on the world. Okay. So this energy is really nice for you. The other, I would say, big focus at this time is a relationship between the relationship you have with money at this time is getting a really big boost. If you have anxiety about money, investing money, saving money, but particularly taking a chance and buying a home or something like that, you may find clarity and a way to think around the problem and make it work. So let's say that you want to achieve something of a financial nature, like buying a home or buying a property, but you feel as though it's gotten very complicated to buy property right now, right? And it's hard in most countries. The inflation has been really kept a lot of people out of the housing market. But with clever, and the truth is that many people will not be able to buy a home even if they are clever. However, there are still ways to do it. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I feel like this aspect is really giving you an ability to like manage money, but emotionally get your head around a problem of a financial nature to help you to deal with money and allow that money to be prosperous and grow. I think that for Aquarians, a lot of issues to do with, reputation or early experiences before you were an adult, especially, may be coming up now. So any lowercase traumas that you have been dealing with, if you feel like you've been treated like a weirdo when you were a kid, a lot of Aquarians are, they're either the most popular kid or they're the kid that kids don't understand. And so if you have residual stress from those experiences, I think that you're confronting that in a big way right now and overcoming those overcoming that conditioning is going to be a big part of the upcoming year. And it's going to start right away in April with that eclipse in Aries. Let's take a look at your tarot cards. Okay, so we see the sun, blessings, wonderful, good luck is coming to you. Then we have the Ace of Swords. So messages coming in that are a breakthrough, messages that help you to get what you want. I see you as very brave here, especially with Mars and Aquarius over the next couple days, and a vision to go after what you want. So this is taking a chance, which is a huge part of this energy, taking a chance, taking a risk. This could be asking someone to be in a relationship too. Changes to relationship status, take the risk. The Yod is a powerful, powerful angle. And so even if you don't have a transit here right now or ever natally, this sextile is pointing right at the cusp between your 7th and 8th house. And so changes to relationships are on the table. Taking a risk, going after a vision that you want, of something that you want. So ask yourself what you want. It's really indicating a lot of positive opportunity. Okay, so let's see the next aspect. We have Leo. Hey Leo, let's take a look at your chart and see how you're impacted by this new year. Okay, so for you, again, the Yod is happening between Leo and Virgo, so it's at the end of your first house. First house, yeah. And then the moon is in Leo at the time when the sun entered Aries. So I would say that's a blessing. And in fact, I didn't emphasize this in the astrology. It's a trine between the moon and the sun. It's a spirited year, full of spirit and hope and, like good faith. These houses, the 7th through the 10th house, are activated in your chart, Leo. This has a lot to do with relationships, branching out, going out in public, going towards people and making connections with them. But I think that first of all, before that all happens, so just to reiterate, if you didn't see the astrology part, essentially how the year begins has a lot of nuance to what the whole year will play out like. So the sextile between Pluto and the sun is really important. Bringing the Yod position on the cusp of your 2nd house, I think that you have the potential of some things changing. And especially look out for March 21st when the moon is in this position. So tomorrow, a breakthrough that liberates you and that gives you a big push forward in a positive way. So this may be a key event on March 21st that helps you to move forward. Other things that I would be looking at if I was a Leo, the conjunction of Uranus and Jupiter in your 10th house next month is absolutely fantastic. if you're unsatisfied with your job, go look for another job. You may find a job of your dreams you never expected. Challenge your environment in your work experiences. We'll talk more about it, but that conjunction is starting. The other thing that we want to bring in for you, I will say that, and I'm a fixed sign person. Most of my transits are in fixed signs. If you guys haven't figured that out already, here it is. Like Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, right? Not so much Taurus, but I'm a fixed sign person. So I'm not picking on anyone. I'm not calling anybody out. But when I see this energy for Leo and for the upcoming year, but especially with the eclipse that's coming up, thinking your way around a problem and thinking outside of the box, rethinking a situation and becoming more flexible is going to be a huge event that's going to happen, that's going to be very liberating for you. This means that your fixed opinions about things are going to change, Leo, and there is going to be a radical shift that is going to cause you to liberate yourself from your own ways. Okay? Again, not calling anybody out, just pointing out that it's there. And with Chiron, this can suggest that some of you are, some of you are, you're holding these opinions and beliefs because of like deep rooted difficulties that you have to contend with. So it's not all bad. This is about, a good conclusion, overcoming limitations and barriers. So we have Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter. Did you guys notice how I quickly, because I do technical astrology, but a lot of my interpretations, if my intuition is saying go there, that's where I go with the reading. Wheel of Fortune is ruled by Jupiter. I think lots of Leos have a breakthrough in their career coming up, or their work, just something really good. A Tower moment is not necessarily bad, especially if it's connected with the Wheel of Fortune. Just means a big change. Fast, big change. Something's really happening for you, Leo. And then we have Eight of Pentacles. So this is saying apply yourself the yod right on the cusp of the second house. Might be a very lucrative year for Leos. Something is breaking down. And I don't do astrology where I predict the demise of people, but Saturn with Venus there could be a boss. There could be a boss in your job or career who's not going to be with us for very much longer. And that might actually lead you to career change. And I see a lot of hard work, applying yourself, pedal to the metal, really trying to achieve things. So there could be some big changes there. And then we have Leo. I didn't mean to cut it, but it cut and it came to your chart. So I see a lot of change. These cards are really powerful. A quick change, something you can't control. It's going to be good for you, and you're going to be working a lot because of this, but in a good way, like working towards your goals or really going after something. Okay? An opportunity, a door's open, and here's your opportunity. Okay, so next we have Capricorn. Okay, that felt like an ending for Capricorn, but let's see what Capricorn gets. So Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's see. Sun, Moon, and Rising, Capricorn. Okay, hey guys. So first look at your New Year's reading is that it always happens in your fourth house, but the significant aspect is between Pluto and the Sun. Again, a lot of these first signs that I've done, they have this kind of suggestion, something to do with housing, opportunities with housing, financial, like taking risks. I don't know. I don't want to tell people financial advice. This is not financial advice. This is a tarot and astrology reading. But the markets are wild, right? And there's a lot of speculation. So I don't want to encourage people to make decisions that they, like if something changes. We're in a very unpredictable time, and I don't think anybody can really tell you what will happen. But moving forward, there's such a potential, how do I say this? in terms of like markets and economics, there's a lot of significant suggestion that the world that we're moving into is going to be possibly out of the reach of many people financially. So for many people, this is like the last chance to get in. Having said that, it could be a bubble, and a big world event could change all of that. So it's a huge risk, in my opinion. But the risk is really evil, because where things are going financially for us collectively, it could create an environment in which you can't actually achieve those things, right? So it's like, this may be your last chance, but it's a huge gamble, and you have no control over that gamble. So a huge blind risk. It's not a good situation. And I don't mean to scare anyone, but I think that when I'm seeing the sun with Pluto in your second house, I think that's the right information to give you. The yod is here between Virgo and Leo, on the cusp of your 9th house, Capricorn. And so some changes may have already taken place in your life, so you know what I'm describing better than I do. And I think now you're going to very much implement a strategy to deal with what's happened. And this is a very grounded Virgo energy of taking leadership and going in that direction. So something may have already happened that has disrupted the equilibrium of what has been happening until now. And the yod is suggesting that you're about to make some fast decisions. Remember, it's motivated by Mars in Aquarius, at the end of Aquarius, as the focal point. And so that tension may push you to, let me use more direct language. It feels like something has happened that has changed the playing field on a material level around you in some way. And I see you as almost making decisions quickly, and with cleverness and skill, you are able to make a certain decision and establish yourself in a very positive way financially if you're quick with it. A huge nuance to this energy that I described in the astrology but maybe didn't emphasize is being very quick with what's happening around you at this time and being responsive to the changes that are happening around us. So pay attention, Capricorn, and you will be able to really go for it and really achieve. There's something with Neptune and the Sun. I really like these transits, like Sun and Saturn, or Venus and Saturn, Sun and Neptune. On the IC, this conjunction that happened on March 17th for you, Capricorn, there's clarity on why you do the things you do because of early experiences. You suddenly understand yourself a bit better, and this motivates you to, go after life a bit better. So I think that this cycle is very, very helpful for you to understand why things are the way they are. And that allows you to be even more in control and even more better prepared to deal with your life as it is. So it feels like when you are a high performer, you get to know yourself. And when you are a high performer, you get to know yourself. And the better that you get to know yourself, the better you can perform. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so let's see your cards. We have Tower. So like I said, a change has just happened. It was the first card. Some people don't believe me when I don't shuffle on camera. Okay. Then we have the Page of Swords. It doesn't matter to me what comes out. Okay. And then we have I pulled 2 Star and the 7 of Cups. I didn't mean to pull an extra card, but we got it. Exactly. Something's changing around you, not for you, Capricorn. You're making fast decisions. This is to do with your destiny and a chosen path. I think a lot of this has to do with your 9th house for some reason. And then we have 7 of Cups. While other people are trying to figure out what happened, you trust your instincts, you trust your discernment, and you go in that direction, and you're going to find like your path. When other people are wondering what happened and like, who am I and all, you're almost like ready for it. So you respond to it almost immediately and you find a lot of success. And you're going to be navigating a space in which other people don't know how to respond, but you're going to be very sure-footed, and you sort of like get possibly an insight into what happened that other people don't know. So you have some inside scoop. Okay, so you're going after something. There's a lot of success for you with that. Okay, so now let's see the next sign. We have Scorpio. Hey, Scorpio, let's take a look at your chart. Scorpio. Okay, hey, Scorpio, let's take a look at your chart and try to see what the beginning of this year is. Sun, Moon, Rising, Scorpio. Just as a reminder, this is like a snapshot, like a solar return reading, where we're looking at the different transits that are happening around us at this time to get an indication of the year ahead, astrological year ahead. So for you, this is always the sixth house. Sixth house is a productive place to have annual New Year. So it's not so bad. It may be not as, how do I say this, spicy as other houses, but it's okay. It's a good solid house to have a new year in. And so the focus here for you is between the 10th and the 11th house. And so for you, this could be a breakthrough with social relationships. People see you for who you are. See, Scorpios hide so much of their personality, and they do have this rough and tumble or tough exterior, that sometimes it takes a while to get to know you. And so other people you may think that everything's fine, but they're just not seeing you. In this energy, they see your true qualities and your good nature. And I think that there's this real possibility to make connections with people and go in a positive direction. Remember, I didn't highlight this in the astrology, but I really like it here. The moon is at your MC when the new year happened, and over the next 2.5 days will transit through your 10th house. This is a really good sign for improvement in popularity, improvement of, being seen and being with others. It's almost like what I was trying to describe in the first energy is that Scorpios, sometimes with outside of astrology. So if we're not talking astrology and just interacting with people like in real life and they don't know your sign, people may think that you're more standoffish than what you are. And this really nice light is shining on you here. And here they're seeing the sweetheart that is you. And so therefore they connect with it better. And there's like a very good conduit of energy for you to connect with people, and that will really be a helpful bridge, and this will really stimulate your public life, your social life. Okay, I think the sextile is very important for you. The thing for Scorpios is that Pluto has been at your IC for years, whether it's even five degrees before in Capricorn until now. You continue to be connected or working through huge patterns to do with early development. And so this will continue to be a pattern throughout this year. This is a liberating opportunity. So to break away from any hardship that you faced early on or gain empowerment from early experiences. It is now waning. So if you have had a difficult childhood, early development, it's in the final phase of that now. So as Pluto moves into Aquarius more, those huge family childhood things will become de-emphasized. Okay, and so yes, you have this huge emphasis on those houses, and then when we look more towards Pisces. And we see these beautiful aspect between Venus and Saturn and Jupiter and Uranus in the 7th house, this is actually a really good time for you in terms of relationships overall. I would say that you have probably the best transit for like improvement in relationships, working things out with people, new people coming in, exposure to people who you didn't know before. So it's like people that are outside of like your normal way. So you're in a really good environment for social connections, for love, for relationships. You're understood. And then you have this mindset here where I feel like you're Scorpio getting much more ready to, you're in an environment where you can, how to say, the blockages that stop you from applying yourself in the way that you want, you're able to navigate them with the energies in your 6th house. So you're liberating yourself from things that stopped you from being able to do the work that you wanted to do before, or live your life in the way that you wanted. So you have this liberty energy. So finally you can apply yourself, do the things you want, work on a certain schedule, or, take on more activities because you're not so distracted by the obstacles that usually get in your way. So I would say overall, like as a snapshot, it's a time when you are received well by other people. Your relationships improve. Connections, especially on a romantic level, get much better. And then on a personal level, like in your heart, Scorpio, I feel like you have a clear mind to do the work that you need to do here. Very, very nice kind of set of transits. Okay, so we have the moon in Libra, 2 of Swords. And then we have the Knight of Cups. Indecision. Finally, somebody makes a decision and lets you know something. Disclosure. Then we have Emperor. This can look like someone who's opening up to you. So if you're in a relationship and there's been some kind of stagnancy there, this can be suggesting, especially alongside, I love Saturn and Venus. Saturn and Venus, and in the 5th house, let's get to the bottom of this because this placement for you is really nice. Saturn in the 5th house is hard in Pisces. Overall, the 2.5 years that it's there puts a intense pressure on your relationships to work correctly. So relationships that don't work correctly not suffer, but they break apart under the stress, right? But Venus here with Saturn helps you to work things through, helps you to figure things out and sort of get to the bottom of things. So communication problems with the loved one get better. If somebody has been hanging back on an answer for you, this is like a declaration of love. This is someone telling you what's in their heart. So people are going to go your way. And if you're not in a relationship, because I like to think of relationships really holistically, because there's so many different permutations. So this is also like people warming up to you. If you've been wanting to be closer with someone, that can happen. But the Emperor is suggesting like a closening of a relationship. Emperor is ruled by Aries in the 6th house. So if you are by yourself, Scorpio, this is you, big boss Scorpio. Big boss Scorpio coming through. So this is also being indifferent. The 2 of Swords, that might be affected by Pluto on your IC. And then in that indifference, the 2 of Swords, not being sure where to go or what to do, attaching emotionally to something that you feel confident about and going after something that you truly desire. So there's a real potential here for, success, both socially, but also at your own creation. Okay. I like this message. I like the reading today. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And I'm glad I can film it for everyone. Hey girl, hey. Okay. So Virgo, hey girl, hey, look at this. Let's do your reading. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Let's take a look. Okay, so Virgos. Okay, so the yod that I described in the beginning of the reading hits you right on this the cusp of your first house. And so it is, I would say, one of these moments in your life that probably will be extremely positive for you. It's a breakthrough moment. With Mars on your descendant, what I think it's suggesting is that there could be some kind of pressure or tension that's leading you to this change. So don't expect everything to be rosy. And if you see certain tension happening in your life right now, like tension with other people or somebody not acting the way that you need them to act, or you having to respond because of somebody's behavior, I don't want you to feel like you've missed it, because that might be the firewood that feeds the engine. You know, that tension or frustration may be the reason why you push forward. And so another emphasis for Virgo is the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus. We're going to talk about this in April, but from now on until April 21st, when it happens, Virgo, I've been telling you guys, Uranus in Taurus is no joke for you. And I mean that in a positive way. This transit is very, very good for you. And for the first part of its transit there, remember I was telling you it's sort of problematic because there was other things going on in Taurus that were making the Uranus transit more murky. But now Jupiter's there with Uranus. This is like the on switch. What is it suggesting in Virgo's 9th house? Sun, moon, and rising. And Virgo moons, this is specifically for you, especially Virgo moons, in my opinion, because the moon is the mind. And so this would be, if your moon is in Virgo, it's in the moon's 9th house, right? So it's happening in your mind. This is really breaking down your ideas to something genius, right? This is really allowing you to thrive and giving your ideas a conduit through which to appear in your life. And it's Sun, Moon, and Rising, all Virgos it applies to. They have a very blessed month ahead for you to go after your dreams. I really think you should. And Virgos too, because I just did Scorpio. Virgo and Scorpio are 60 degrees apart, so they sort of have similar transits. But Virgo's emphasis is somewhat in relationships, not as much. Virgo is much more like take on the world Virgo, but we do have Saturn in the 7th house for Virgo and Venus joining Saturn here. So this is the bottom line. Saturn in Pisces in the 7th house is a bit of a downer in relationships, because a lot of relationships that don't work really break down when Saturn's in the 7th house. But with Venus here, you get this dose of compassion, right? And this is not, like I said, they're going to join together again in January next year. So, you know, it's about a 9-month transit. It's a common one, but it's nice as you're getting your dose of unconditional love into a space where your relationships have been challenged, right? Where you've been challenged over the last year to be critical of your relationships and have to make some hard decisions for some of you guys in terms of relationships. And so Venus is giving you like a lot of love and compassion through that area of your chart. So it's very nice. And that is at a sextile. So this can be like understanding why something happened, or also connecting. So let's say that you had to separate yourself from someone that was emotionally hurtful for you in the last year. This conjunction between Saturn and Venus is bringing possibly someone in who is not hurtful, who is very compassionate. And that gives you that kind of extra energy to be able to take on your ideas, take on the world. So I really like this. This is a real kind of like push for Virgo. The challenge here for Virgos is in the 8th house. We'll get to this more to do with the eclipses, but there are the challenge, or the thing Virgos have to get over, is change and endings. It's such a huge theme right now. The fear of ending, the fear of change, breaking down that barrier, challenging change, being willing to embrace an ending in order to get something else. And I know that sounds like very like, metaphorical, philosophical or whatever, but in reality, it's like the really contending with the fact that you have to make a decision or make a change, and you have to do it, and you're getting pushed to do it with this transit in Aries in your 8th house. And so, but it's like something that you've been resisting all along, Virgo. So you've been resisting that change, and now you make that change, and it's a relief. It's almost like holding on, and then you let go, and then you figure out that you've been holding on too long anyway. Something like that. Okay, so we have Ace of Pentacles, new financial beginnings for Virgos. Pluto's in your 6th house, Virgo. That has a lot to do with like an ability to make your own way financially as well. Page of Pentacles. This is like a court card ace, right? So we have two aces, two Ace of Pentacles types energy. And then Strength, Leo. And so what this is suggesting is like a real push for independence and strength, which is a huge theme of Aries season in general, but especially this year, Virgo. So you have this, possibility of, financial, something that liberates you, financial independence of some kind, letting go of structures that hold you back and embracing a powerful new beginning that leads you to financial security. So financial security that liberates you from those things that held you back in the first place. It comes through work, which is fine for Virgo. It comes through changing of relationships, but most importantly, it comes through embracing an idea that kind of blows your mind and gives you so much hope. Really nice for Virgos. Congratulations. I think all of the readings I've been so excited to do this reading for you guys. And I think all of them don't disappoint. I think, as a year ahead sort of theme, they're all bringing good messages. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at Cancer's snapshot. Solar return reading for the new year. Happy New Year, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Okay, so for you, for some Cancers, you have reached a pinnacle of financial success. And remember, financial success is relative. So talking about money is always like, well, where's my Ferrari? Well, like, not everybody's meant to drive a Ferrari, like everybody has their own, success is relative. Financial success. You have reached a pinnacle. So be grateful. That's what I'm saying. There's some kind of pinnacle of financial success, that material success that you're getting here. And you're going to apply that towards like using it. Do you know what I mean? So whether you've saved up money or whether you've invested money and now you're getting your investment in return, or whether you've worked into some kind of status or prominence, financial success, you're going to be taking that now and making it work. For Cancer, this is going to be an intense month for Cancer. Because of the Aries emphasis, there's a lot happening in Aries. It's hard stuff that's ultimately good. That's across the board for everyone. So there's going to be a lot of people facing resistance. There's going to be a lot of people like, I don't know what to do. They may get disoriented or feel worried and stuff like that. But ultimately, they will be happy that it happened. Okay. And for you, this is happening in your 10th house of career. And to me, this feels like accepting. Like you may get faced with a lot of things, Cancer, that you don't want to face in your life with this transit. Like, let's say I feel, so let me speak directly to you. So it's like, not figurative. Sometimes I speak in metaphors or figurative language to draw like a broader general, description so people understand it. But here, I think this literally, to me, suggests that you're having some kind of social difficulty at work and in your public life where you want to avoid the crowd, okay? And you don't want to be around all the people. And I feel like there's an aspect of possibly bullying, or possibly like there's things that you're not comfortable with here, Cancer. There may be an element also of shyness. So you may be feeling really, I feel like this, like, I don't want to be around this situation type of feeling. So it could be caused by many different things, but it's a difficult thing to do with your public life, you in the public sphere. And so you feel uncomfortable with it, and it's going to come at you very intensely with this transit. It's going to come like really in your face. Like all the things that feel so uncomfortable are going to come at you now. But you've been diddling with this for a while, and it's been like a low level murmur for a while, and it's not been getting better. So you're constantly struggling with this because it never gets bad enough that it has to be dealt with. I think it's going to amp up here, and it's going to happen like by the end of April through these eclipses and Mercury retrograde and stuff. And on the other side of this, it's going to be dealt with, and you're going to be liberated from those barriers that you're stuck in. And it's going to feel much better. This is like a redemption. So it's going to be good for you. And how you feel uncomfortable around people in your work or your career, that's going to be obliterated, taken out of your way, so you can finally have freedom to go in this direction. It's almost like a dam. It feels like a dam that's holding back water. You want to go in this direction, but there's this dam of circumstance that's holding you back. I feel like there's going to be something that causes that dam to fracture in the next month, and you're going to move forward. And I feel like everything will come through with that. I think that for you on a personal level, I would really highlight Saturn and Venus in your 9th house. To me, that signifies a lot more compassion. You've had a long transit of Pluto in Capricorn in your 7th house. I'm very open about thinking that's probably the hardest transit any sign has had over the last 10 years. So we've talked a lot about that. But with that comes a certain degree of conditioning, like your mindset of what you've been taught to believe and, settle into. And so this Saturn with Venus here is compassion and love that is being given to you to forgive yourself and to not be so critical of yourself. So suddenly more acceptance. So in other words, you've been conditioned by this transit to have limiting thoughts about yourself, and the conjunction, the beginning of the cycle of Venus and Saturn likely is marking a return to self-acceptance, improved self-esteem, stuff like that. Also, Sun with Neptune at the top of the chart. If there has been deception around you, Cancer, that has been defamatory, slanderous, gossip, rumors, kind of stuff like that, this conjunction, Neptune and the Sun, you have been exonerated. Now you get to move forward. I feel like that energy. So if there's something that you have not been able to address because people gossip and they keep you out of the loop from being able to defend yourself, this could come through as an opportunity to defend yourself, clear your name, and move forward. Social relationships take a really big boost in April. We'll talk about that more there, but you're going to be very popular very, very soon. So I think, I'll tell you, I think this is a timing thing. We'll take this Jupiter that fell out, the Wheel of Fortune. First, I think the issue with your public life is going to get addressed. Then you're going to go through a period of healing with regard to like how you think of yourself, self-confidence and such. And then I think you get, at the same time as that's happening, this is going to emerge, which is a boost in your social life. Like you're going to be very magnetic. So we have Wheel of Fortune. We have 10 of Swords, which is Sun in Gemini. The end of a situation. And then we have 7 of Swords. I think that you're going to get away from something before it gets bad. I think you're going to avoid a problem, and I think it's going to be very lucky that you do. For some of you, this feels like you're in a job where you know you're very close to danger. Like you can sense that there's a problem. In that case, you're leaving that job before you can be stuck holding the hot potato. So there's you get out of the way of danger. And I think that you've been sitting there and dealing with it, or like waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it's been causing you a lot of discomfort. And I think you're going to get out of there. I think that you're going to stay out of the way of trouble. And through your quick thinking, I think you're going to ghost. Okay, so good luck with this year. This is just an intro. I hope this helps, and I hope you have a lot of success. A lot of this also for you, Cancer. Remember, the yod is between the second house. Oh, we talked about this. This is like, remember the first thing I said? You take the money that you have accrued, the financial success, and you apply it to moving forward, and that's going to be successful. Okay, so let's see the next message. We have Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at your chart, Pisces. Okay. Hey, Pisces, let's get weird. Okay, so Sun, Moon, Rising, Pisces. So your chart is impacted quite heavily by the transits at the beginning of this year. We have the conjunction between Venus and Saturn. I really love this. I think that, how do I say this? Venus is giving love to a critical position. So it's compassionate. And so where there was no sympathy, and it's in your first house, so where you may have felt criticized or been criticized, you are getting a dose of compassion. And then we had the Neptune-Sun conjunction at the end of the first house, which is in Pisces. And so that happened on March 17th, right before this new year. And the new year, it's always in your second house. So you get depleted, and then it just fuses energy. So if your money has been on a low, this is an annual thing for Pisces, then now things will start picking up and being much better. But let's go back to the Venus-Saturn conjunction, because that's on a sextile to Jupiter. It's going to be on a sextile to Jupiter, but then also Uranus. So it's like Saturn and Jupiter have been holding a sextile. Now Venus is more on a sextile to Jupiter, and then she will transit really quickly and become a sextile to Uranus. So it's like ping pong, or like dominoes, one affects the other. It's a really cool transit that way. So they're all, even though there's like a lot of degrees in between them, they're all working together, right? These energies are all forming together. And so here I feel as though there's a lot of opportunity for Pisces to change your environment, the people who are around you. There's a opportunity around the people who you're around on a day-to-day basis, like motivating people to get on board with you, convincing a sibling of something in a positive direction. And so the midpoint between that is in Libra, and we'll talk about this more during the eclipse in the 8th house. But to me, this is sounding like possibly convincing people that this isn't so much like friends or family members. This is people who you know around you. You can convince them to make a change that's going to be very productive or positive for you. And so you're going to get some, like, moving forward, taking a look at these eclipses that's coming. You're going through some kind of Pisces financial change, convincing someone. This is like maybe convincing yourself that you're going to move, or and finding like support from the people around you to be able to take that next step in the direction that you want. So there's a lot of opportunity here. And then we have also the yod that is forming off of the sun and Pluto, and this is a once in a lifetime transit. It's on your descendant. I would be on the lookout for people who you're highly compatible with to enter your life at this time, Pisces. So I'm not promising you romance or something like that, but there could be a stressful situation that has you a bit frazzled, and then quickly someone comes in with whom you're highly compatible, highly compatible. This could be a friend or something more serious, but suddenly someone's coming in that really speaks to your nature or to who you are. Then we have the world, which is up here in the 9th house. There's not much there in Scorpio right now. Oops. And then we have the 3 of Pentacles. Maybe this is talking about the 8th house, this change. And the 3rd house is like close travel, so it's not really going far. Ace of Wands. This could, I feel like close networks of people, the 3rd house, not so much like 11th house, but more people you know. I see you talking with people and finding a path through. This can be a suggestion that you're starting a business, which is really nice for the 2nd house. The 2nd house, hang-ups with money. We'll talk about this for the April eclipse for you, are getting really negotiated here. So if you can't get past certain fears to do with money, you may be able to be very brave, which is like take a risk and start a business, stuff like that. This is actually suggesting some degree of travel because the conjunction is between Jupiter and Uranus in the 3rd house. It makes me think that it's not really far away, but it could be to a neighboring town or a neighboring city. There could be some possibility of moving around for some Pisces as well. Okay, so that's kind of your reading for the beginning of the year. Happy New Year. Okay, so we have 3 more to go. Let's see who's next. We have Gemini. Hey Gemini, let's take a look at your year ahead. And I hope you guys oh shoot. Hold on. I hit the wrong button. I got excited. There we go. Sorry. Gemini. Okay, hi Gemini. Let's take a look at your chart. Let's close that other one down. That was weird. Okay, so Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look how the current transits, especially the New Year, Aries season, is affecting your chart. So what I would say first and foremost is the yod off of the foundational aspect between Pluto and the Sun is hitting your IC. So something is hitting home literally really intensely for you. There's an awakening moment here, and it's kind of like a epiphany or understanding of how things work. This is for some people, this is going to be a shock realization about how their family is or how life was. It could be like a realization that you've been gaslit, for those of you who have, or a realization that you believe certain things that have been drilled into your head that you have been holding on to since forever. So it's like a big wake up moment in some way. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of healing for you in terms of friends, Gemini. There's still some, I would give it 3 weeks for things to, maybe even a month, for things to really work themselves out. I feel as though Geminis right now have been struggling with personal relationships, getting on the same page as other people, trusting other people. And so these transits here in the 11th house, I think, will really help you to get through the reasons why you're keeping people at an arm's distance. And when you work through that, I think there's going to be a lot more people that enter your life. So you're kind of breaking down those barriers, but we'll talk about that more. if you've been dealing with being very criticized in terms of your reputation, be it work or career, this conjunction between Saturn and Venus is going to be extremely helpful for you. It really lends itself well to other people seeing your side of the story. It lends itself really well to dispelling any rumors. Although I would say on March 17th, the conjunction between Sun and Neptune was probably better for that. So the rumor mill has been addressed and good outcomes are on the way. This is to me, it's looking like a salvage of reputation for Gemini. So if other people have not been on your side, or if you feel like really separated from people, these transits to me are suggesting that you're saving face, or that things are really improving. People are seeing your side of the story. All of that reputational stuff is really coming up. Now, this may not be like a super spicy reading, but when I'm looking at Pluto in your 9th house, it's suggesting a really good foundation. And I didn't emphasize this in the astrology, but the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus is really deeply, in Taurus, is deeply like steady foundation. So whatever is happening now, I would take it if I were you. I would take this wholeheartedly, because whatever happens now is going to really lead to an improved outcome later. Okay, so build on that foundation and be really open. The other thing I would suggest is, because Venus and Saturn are together, talk to people, let people know your side of the story, share of yourself to protect yourself, or to and it has to be truthful because it's Saturn, but share, of course it's going to be truthful, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, don't protect yourself, for the sake of protecting yourself. Tell the truth. Tell other people your side. And I think that they're going to see your side. And this doesn't have to be like career. This could be in your family, although this area of the chart isn't so much family. But in terms of personal politics with other people, Gemini, this may be a time in which you're liberated from stereotypes that you've been stuck with. Let's take a look at tarot cards to figure out a little bit more about this. So we have the Strength card, Leo. That's down here alongside the IC. I have a feeling, so for some Geminis, your siblings, cousins have been a bad influence on you. And so if they have been, just like bad mannerisms, that's what I'm getting. Bad mannerisms, like rude, or maybe like they maybe you take on bad habits, like behavioral habits, or maybe smoking or something else that your cousins or siblings do. And so this is a time in which you can those things can get really stuck in our head, like treating people a certain way, and you're like, hey, I'm not like this. So this is a time when you can break away from that conditioning. And then we have the King of Swords. I'm not sure why the camera went blurry. It's kind of the card itself, but I don't think it's that blurry. That's okay. You guys can see it. You guys know the card. And then we have the Queen of Cups. This is my interpretation. I think that the main message here is to do with your IC in here. And I think I'll build on the first interpretation. There had been ways that you have been conditioned to treat other people, influence, peer pressure by siblings and cousins, people who were about your age. And you're the King of Swords, whether you're a man, woman, or neutral. And then you are here getting on top of those behavioral things that have discouraged other people from liking you, frankly. So it's like taking on bad habits. And so what's on the other side of this is being very well received by Queen of Cups energy. So this means that there's someone who's very sensitive, who has a very nice heart, maybe Oh, hold on. The camera stopped, so I wasn't sure if it was okay. But there's someone who's very nice here, and this may be Saturn and Venus here, right? Together. Somebody really is willing to like you or likes you, and it's because you have worked through some of bad habits, you know, like maybe swearing. Swearing puts off a lot of people, and a lot of people don't know that, and they swear, and it's like nobody will say anything, but like, you know, I think swearing is funny in the right context, but I'm not like prejudiced against it, but a lot of people will be not so open to someone. So it's stuff like that. It doesn't have to be huge things. But what I see here is this could be like a boss who really sees you for who you are, and you feel like nobody's seen you for a long time, and no one's really recognized your good character. And maybe this is the opportunity, like you're seen by someone who gives you the way forward and in your career. Very, very nice reading. I know it sounds kind of like maybe not so exciting, but I feel like this is a personal triumph for Gemini, where you've been hitting like a glass ceiling, a glass wall, and someone has the way to help you through, and all that work you've been doing on yourself is going to really pay off. Okay. So 2 more. I've had a lot of fun reading for you guys. Thank you for stopping by. We have Libra next. I have no idea who's left. I'm sure whoever's watching knows. Hi guys. Hi everyone. Thank you for watching. Julie. Hi Julie. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, Libra. So let's see, Libra's next. Abra knows it's Aries. Okay. Okay, so now we'll go for Libra. Hi Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Hey guys. So for you, each year, the Aries ingress of the Sun puts an emphasis on relationships for you, Libra. But specifically this year, I was saying this to Virgo and Scorpio. I'm like, oh, your chart is really good for relationships. I would say Scorpio has the best transit for love, but I say that you're number 2, Virgo's 3 in terms of love right now. It's just because of the way the transits are aligned. So this is for Libras, the main thing that stands out for me in your chart right now, as like the precipice of a whole new astrological year, is this will come up April 8th. We have the new moon eclipse in Aries. But for now, it feels as though hardships with regard to relationships that you have been struggling through, hardships, you are, the hardships that you have been struggling with in relationships, they're going to get worked out. This is whoever's watching. Hi, everyone. The Aries placement right now is going to sting wherever it is in your chart. So find out where Aries is in your chart. A couple houses or 3 houses or 1 house if you do equal houses. Figure it out. Look at it from different perspectives. It's going to be an annoying transit, but it's going to be for a good cause. It's going to finally push us through certain barriers and work things out that have been in the kind of background of things all this time, and finally push us through so that they are dealt with and that we can move on in this direction. So for you, this has a lot to do with relationships, and it's going to take like for some of you, it's going to take an argument. For some of you, it's going to be like saying the thing that you needed to say that you have been putting off. But finally, you're going to liberate yourself. Or even, it doesn't have to be a conflict. It can be something like finally making a decision about relationships that you have been putting off, Libra. This is going to happen alongside this eclipse. The reason I said I think you're number 2 in terms of relationships is the sextile between Pluto and the Sun in the onset is once in a lifetime. Pluto is in your relationship house. The sun has entered your 7th house. This is going to really boost your relationship, romance area. Be very careful with Pluto in the 5th house, because it can, if somebody is giving off red flags, then be very, very cautious. But it can lend itself to a very passionate interaction with other people. So strong personalities. And so with strong personalities, you always have to be careful whether they, are strong for good reasons or toxic. So just be cautious. I'm only saying this because Pluto has just entered Aquarius. So it's just the stuff that you need to know, Libras. But overall, the sextile is very powerful. It's on the cusp of Leo and Virgo, which is on the cusp of your 12th house. This can suggest that certain relationship issues to do with a group of people are getting worked out, and you're able to move past them. I see the energy of leaving the radar of other people. What I mean by that is it seems as though there's a potential of some contention that you've been dealing with people in general, friends, social groups, and so forth. And because of this conflict that has been going on, you haven't been able to move past certain social circles. I think this yod is going to push you outside of their ability to influence you. So this is like basically not being able to find new friends because the old friends seem to always be around. And so this is an opportunity to kind of get away from what has been and get the antidote to what's happened. So like good friends if you haven't had the best of friends. And so really pushing through. So for you overall, Libra, this snapshot of the upcoming year has a lot to do with relationships. There is going to be a huge change that you face in April when Jupiter and Uranus meet in the 8th house. It's going to be a radical change, something that's going to kind of blow your mind. Very unexpected and very out of the box, but it's going to be very helpful. Overall, I feel for you, you have a chart that's dominated by messages about love and relationships. Powerful love connections, working through barriers with significant others, really identifying what is important for you in terms of love and like working through things, and figuring out what you're looking for. A big change that may impact love situations as well, and as well navigating through circumstances that may be limiting for you, Libra, like in terms of social relationships. So it's all social relationships, getting more aligned with more like-minded people, away from people that are resistant. Chemistry with people is on the rise. So like a spicy time with people is going to improve. So we have, it feels like somebody's trying to pick a fight with you and you're like not really wanting it at all. So you'll find a way around it. We have 3 of Pentacles. Stress from work may be impacting your friendships, so that's going to get worked out. 7th house has a lot to do with career as well, like your relationships at work. Putting things to rest, moving past things. This is an intense reading in terms of the tarot cards. I really feel as though there's like an extraction process that's happening for Libra. Extraction out of bad situations and circumstances you don't want to be in. So the 10 of Swords, don't be worried about. It's putting a situation to rest, and you are able to move past its limitations, whereas before you were not able to very much at all. Okay, good luck. This is just a snapshot for the oncoming year, and we'll look more at your chart soon. Okay, so last but not least, and thanks Abra for keeping track, we have Aries. Hi Aries, and happy birthday, you guys, if you have a sun in Aries. Aries. Okay, so Aries, sun, moon, and rising, the annual new year. As the sun enters Aries, beginning of Aries season. First of all the transits, the eclipse, a Mercury retrograde in your 1st house. It's going to be chaotic, but it's going to be good. Okay, so don't be worried about it being terrible. You know, you've already been pushing through a lot of this energy. If you want to get a familiarity with what's happening in your chart, really take a look back to the beginning of the month, beginning of March, end of February. This is when Chiron and the North Node joined. That was very significant, really insightful for you in terms of what's happening for you personally, how you are feeling and how you are impacted, and what kind of things are important for you to pay attention to. And so in Aries, I think that this has a lot to do with the ability to move forward, the ability to move up. If there are situations that are drowning you out, which means that you're not being who you want to be, Aries, because you're impacted by how you're being treated, or how you're allowing yourself to be treated, or how do I say this? Like you're holding yourself back. You're from fully because of certain limitations, then I feel like that's going to get really, whatever's holding you back personally, I think you're going to work through. Now, I've been talking about the sextile between Pluto and the Sun, and so I feel that's very important. For you, this is on the cusp of the 6th house and the 5th house. And so for you, this is maybe stepping away from distractions from love affairs towards really getting down to business. That doesn't mean no love for Aries. It just means that maybe up until now there have been romances or distractions, love distractions, that have been distracting you from paying attention to more important things. And it's gotten old. Like you've wasted your time and you're just like, this is really too much. And so this is really too much. And now I think that you're intolerant basically to it. I think when someone catches your eye, or when you're like, this is romantic, I think you're going to not be such a sucker for wasting time focusing on that unless it's really good. And I think that you have really you're done with, for now, with giving a lot of time to half energy. Okay, I think that may be motivated by a certain degree of frustration with regard to a friendship. And maybe there was a friend who ate up a lot of your time. You gave that person a lot of your time and it possibly didn't work out or has gotten a little cold. And now you're just like, instead of giving myself all this time, I gave all this time to this friendship or person, and now I feel like I've wasted my time. So it's motivated by a feeling of not doing what you should have been doing because you were distracted by personal relationships. So I feel like the yod off of the Pluto and Sun on the cusp of the 6th house for you is like this really sharp attention to like, I need to invest on myself. You know, Saturn and Venus in the 12th house is really, really nice. It suggests that there is a deep compassion that you are expressing to yourself for the things that are very difficult for you to deal with, for hold. So there's a really compassionate, understanding energy as Venus and Saturn join in the 6th house. It's nice. I really like it. It's not something that, it's not like a pep talk because it's a subconscious, but there's a real like self-compassion that's coming through here, and acceptance of who you are as a person and how things are. Overall, you're preparing yourself for a large influx of social years ahead. There's a lot of people coming your way, but looking at the chart, it really feels as though right now is the calm before the storm. And I mean that in a positive way. I think you're going to have lots of friends over the next 20 years. I think you're going to have a lot of good experiences. But as this year begins, and maybe the rest of the year will be this way, in which you have some time for you to get right with yourself, get good with yourself, so that when those people come, you will feel comfortable and at ease and relaxed to welcome them in. So it looks really good. This is really looking good for you financially. If you're planning something of a financial nature, if you've been working on something, you should really put a lot of effort behind it, because by April 21st, when the conjunction happens at 21 degrees Taurus, it's going to be very beneficial for your financial outlook. So whatever it is that's of a financial nature that you're working on, you should put energy behind. Okay, so let's see your cards. We have Aries, the Emperor. Very nice energy. So you're getting good with being strong, in short, right? Whether you're a man or a woman, we get some rest. I told you it's the calm before the storm. You need rest, right? Before you get shine and you step up on stage and you do your thing. And then we have the Six of Swords. I know it says Wands, but it's the Six of Swords. This is a restful time for Aries, I think. I think it's a restful time where you're allowing... Remember, Aries had a very active, very, very active 5 years. Lots of growth, things coming at you from... So it's good that you're getting a little bit of a break, a little bit of a decompress here, so that you can get ready. I don't think it's going to stop, but I think you have a little bit of a calm in that storm. The storm of success. How many signs would love to have that? And look, it's getting dark, and I managed to get this in before, it got dark and you guys couldn't see. So this is going to be available for everybody to watch. I'm glad you guys hung in there with me. We made it right before sunset, so I'm excited about that, and I hope you guys have a happy new year. I'll see you guys here and on other platforms. Let's get ready for that eclipse. Okay, talk